Here we go! Welcome to our mini episode. It's a little bit after midnight here, and it is officially my birthday. And for my birthday,
Hey-o.
all I want is to have fantasy football already be here. So the closest we can get is a mock draft with 7 computers and our special guest star, Jay Tief from Colorado. He's one of our league mates. Moved away on us, but he left us this, which is why it's here. It's an honorary statue in honor of a guy who left it here.
It's your pick, Tief. Pick the guy, Tief.
All right.
No, actually, it's going to be Mike's pick first overall. So what we did here, we're drafting a sleeper, and it's going to be a 10-team mock where we just have CPUs drafting for the other picks, which will make this hopefully go smoothly and quickly. And, it's going to be 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a flex. It's half PPR, quarterback, tight end, defense, and a few bench spots. It's basically just like our our league that we run together.
Yeah.
And, we all don't really know anything, but it'll be interesting to find out what we like. So we're going to spend a couple minutes talking about each pick, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And so our league, full disclosure, is a half-point PPR, but we're just going to draft. And I don't know.
Are we running a full? We're running a half, are we not?
Yeah. Did I say full point?
Yeah.
Oh, half-point PPR.
I think you did. I was half paying attention,
Uh-huh.
but I heard full.
Well,
And
it's a half-point PPR.
We have it exactly like our league, but not because our league's weird.
Yeah, but so we'll kind of take into account the half point, but we'll discuss in general.
So we randomized the draft order, and it turns out that Mike is going to be the first pick.
Which is my least favorite pick to be.
Except for you really have a guy that I think you like this year. So I've just clicked begin draft, and you're on the clock, and I think I know who you're going to pick.
So the first 3 people on the ranking, you've got Ezekiel Elliott, you've got Saquon Barkley, and Alvin Kamara. And that you can't go wrong with any of them, in my opinion. But full disclosure, I drafted Saquon last year. I liked Saquon last year. Where
did you draft him?
I drafted him in the first round last year.
Like what number do you know?
I would say probably 7th. I think
I
I
would have
drafted
said
7th.
like 4th.
But
maybe it was a little later.
You might be right. I drafted like mid-round. I usually get like a mid-round pick when I'm happy.
Yeah.
And I remember being happy, so you might be right. It might have been like 5 or 4.
He is my consensus number 1 overall this year.
Well, and he is my consensus.
Elliott is safer probably, but Barkley is
He's
just
my guy.
so good. So good. Even if he's on the worst team in the league, if that happens to be it, he won't be
He's
finishing number 1.
He's gonna run.
But, I don't know what the Giants are doing, but they have Saquon, and you remember I was talking about the guard that they traded Odell for. They traded for another guard. They drafted David Hernandez, a smalling guard, as a rookie last year at UTEP. He's playing really well.
And he had the most yards after carry last year of any running back.
Their line's getting better.
Yeah, so I like him. And that's who I'm going to draft, Saquon Barkley.
So let's see. There we go. Here it comes. So
the computers took Ezekiel Elliott number 2, and then Christian McCaffrey is a surprise number 3 right there.
Not too surprising, I would say.
So Tief immediately went for Alvin Kamara, which I think is the obvious choice there when he's still there at pick 4. Melvin Gordon went pick 5 from the computer, and then Todd Gurley. I don't hate any of those picks, right? But personally, I would have put Alvin Kamara before Christian McCaffrey. I think I might have put Melvin Gordon before Christian McCaffrey. I am very high on Christian McCaffrey, that being said.
Yeah, it's kind of funny sometimes. Like, I'm on the clock, so I have to go in a minute 30. But
and Todd Gurley was the number 1 pick last year.
I know, and he just went 6. Yeah,
I don't hate that.
There's the value that is current, because right now what Sleeper does is they draft who is the current value at that spot as far as ADP goes. It's based on what people are doing in their drafts. So, that's the way that the system works, and that's why Gurley dropped a little bit, but I would be so happy with him at 6. As it so happens, I'm picking 7. So my consideration has to be do I take the first wide receiver, the wide receiver that I think is the best, or do I draft someone like
Le'Veon
James?
Bell,
Well,
James
not
Conner.
for me. For me, it would be David Johnson, James Conner, Joe Mixon.
Okay.
I would say there's a decent chance I can get Joe Mixon on the back end. If I don't get Joe Mixon, if I end up with Dalvin Cook, I'm going to be a little sad. But I think I have to take the best wide receiver available. So I'm going to take DeAndre Hopkins at 7.
Okay. I approve of that pick. And then Le'Veon Bell goes right after Devontae Adams, David Johnson. James Conner goes first in the second round. Julio Jones, then Odell Beckham Jr. So I like that value for Odell Beckham Jr. Actually, what we discussed earlier in our last podcast was that you would take Odell before Julio, or I would take Odell before Julio.
Right. It was a toss-up. And
It's a
they go
toss-up.
back to back. So
They
that
go
makes
back to
sense.
back.
I think Le'Veon's the most overdrafted player here.
So then it comes to you because it's a snake draft, right? And we're looking at this like, you've got a wide receiver.
It's an easy decision for me.
You're going Joe Mixon
Yeah, I'm definitely going Joe Mixon.
because you're not going receiver.
No. So, like, Joe Mixon is, like, for me, Saquon light because he's a really, really good running back on a not-so-good team.
Yeah.
The difference is his team hasn't been doing the same things as the Giants are on the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of reasons why he's not a first-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
But at the exact pick that I am picking, the reason I drafted Hopkins is because I thought I could get Mixon, and I can, and I will. So,
And that's a nice
there you
1-2 punch.
Yep.
Then goes Antonio Brown in Oakland, which I'm a little surprised. I think he could have gone a little lower.
You thought earlier, I thought. I mean, based on
Yeah.
what you said in our previous podcast, I thought you were more high on him.
Yeah, but then you talked me out of it.
Oh, okay.
So that's how that went.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce goes off the board as the first tight end. I think a little early, personally. I wouldn't really.
When you can get Michael Thomas, it's a risky pick. We'll see how that team pans out.
And immediately Tief grabs Michael Thomas. So now
And
he's
good God, Patrick Mahomes just went
that's
pick
too early.
pick 8 of the second round.
Yeah.
That is really, really insane if you ask me.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
that's
so-
like kind of throwing your draft away because unless he repeats like 40 plus touchdowns, it's a bust.
Yeah.
So don't do that, people. Don't.
So
do
Tief said that he felt like Michael Thomas was a gimme there.
it was a great pick.
Yeah, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas. Yeah, like when New Orleans has a bye, he's gonna have a bad week. But like when they don't have a bye, he's gonna have a pretty good week. Dalvin Cook goes pick 9. I was kind of hoping he would fall to me personally.
Yeah, I like. I mean, it's interesting that Tief has back-to-back Saints.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to ask him how he feels about like having 2 players on the same team.
Yeah. So here at my pick, I have about a minute left. We've got Juju Smith-Schuster, Tyreek Hill, Nick Chubb, Mike Evans. Now, I'm
Zach
not
Ertz.
touching. Yeah, and Zach Ertz, but I'm not touching Zach Ertz. It's really between Chubb and Juju for me. I'm not touching Tyreek Hill because I feel like a suspension's going to come his way. I feel like besides that, he's also just a garbage person, and I just don't think he can repeat what he did last year just on the field. I don't know. What do you think? You Juju or Team Chubb here?
Well, you get to pick 2, and right away Chubb jumps out at me.
Yeah, me too.
So,
I like going 2 running backs at the start of a draft. That's no secret. I tend to believe in the power of running backs, and if you get solid running backs, I feel like you can kind of figure the rest out in a pass-happy league. So, yeah, I'm going to go Chubb here.
And then I don't think you can go wrong with Juju or Evans.
Yeah.
I do not agree with picking Hill, given what we don't know about the off-field situation. Juju is going higher with everyone's consensus. I think Evans is one of the most consensus underrated players. He's 25. He's just set records ever since he's entered the league as far as one of the youngest players to do what he's doing. He's got Jameis. He's got an offensive system. I mean, I feel really, really good about Mike Evans this year. So, like, upside pick, I guess, is Juju. But, I mean, I might just go a little crazy and go with Mike Evans instead. But
Yeah.
I would say most people would pick Juju. So.
I would pick Juju. I think he really, at the very least, he'll probably repeat last year, but I think he could honestly build on it, with the loss of Antonio Brown. They got to get those passes somewhere, and James Conner is going to take care of their running game. We saw that last year. I think Juju has that opportunity to really be a big name.
No argument from me.
Yeah, so
I love your team.
that puts me at Saquon, Chubb, and Juju, and I'm not pissed about that.
So Evans goes right after that.
Which makes sense.
And then
Leonard Fournette, which actually I think is a bit of a jump I'm very low on Leonard Fournette. I've always been low.
I think a lot of people will be, and I think it will be maybe a potential steal this year.
Yeah, maybe, but he just seems to not recover from injury.
For the guy that took Patrick Mahomes, love the pick.
Yeah,
I applaud that pick.
Yeah, so now he's got Christian McCaffrey, Leonard Fournette, and Patrick Mahomes.
So for Tief, Tief's pick is, and he's considering it currently, and he's got Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas. You like Damian Williams? I really like Zach Ertz. I would think now is the time he could make a really kind of sick play, because I don't think Zach Ertz is that far off Travis Kelce. I wouldn't be surprised if Zach Ertz finishes the number 1 overall tight end. I think he has the wide receiver and the running back to say, hey, I'm going to just go tight end and see what happens.
Yeah, and I know Tief tends to agree with us on waiting on Tyreek Hill, just because we don't know what's going on.
He's not going to go to us. He's going to go to a user, a CPU.
Oh, no, I agree. I'm saying I don't think Tief's taking Tyreek Hill.
Right. That's what I mean. Like, he's going to go to a CPU.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what I'm going to do when it comes. That's going to be interesting to me. So Tief's considering Ertz or Thielen.
Thielen's not a bad idea either. I like Thielen a lot. And he went Ertz.
That's a great pick.
Yeah. And so then Tyreek Hill goes immediately, which makes sense, like a CPU would take him. It's so they have Melvin Gordon, Travis Kelce, and Tyreek Hill. And that's not a terrible way to go. The team after that has Todd Gurley, Antonio Brown, and Marlon Mack, which again, I don't love the Marlon Mack pick personally.
Yeah.
And so then you have DeAndre Hopkins and Joe Mixon. Your picks here, you got Damian Williams, who I've already been on the record saying, like, I like him as a pick at this value right now. You got T.Y. Hilton, and you got Adam Thielen there. So you've got some, like, wide receiver options if you want to go more wide receiver heavy. Or if you want to back up your running back, since you went wide receiver first round, you have that option.
Right.
That's a tough pick. It's not you're not going to lose the draft with this pick, but this could, like, definitely shape your season.
I love Ty. I love Thielen. I especially love Ty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ty, he's got like someone else in that wide receiver core.
Ty is my pick, unless so what I like to do in a situation like this, I have a running back and a wide receiver. You have to think about your running back too before you think about your wide receiver too, or you're gonna get fucked.
And Tief says he'd go Thielen if he was you here.
Yeah. So I think that's a good call. I just am probably, because of Diggs, Thielen, who is the guy, and I'm always a believer in Andrew Luck and the Colts number 1, and that's obviously been Ty.
Yeah.
I'm higher on Ty, and it's just a matter of, like, do I draft Sony Michel here, who would be my highest running back, over Damian Williams, or do I think I can get a guy on the back end with my second pick in the 4th round? And for me, since I can share this with you, would I rather have Kerryon Johnson? Oh shit! Did I get auto drafted? Shit!
You ended up with Keenan Allen.
Okay.
Which isn't the worst, but
well,
it's not what you wanted.
But basically, what I was going to say, I was going to draft T.Y. Hilton because I was hoping that Kerryon Johnson would end up back in my hands, and Adam Thielen is still sitting here, but then he would be my flex. And I was hoping Kerryon Johnson would still be here on my back end. So instead of getting T.Y., who went 2 picks afterward, I'm going to end up getting Kerryon Johnson. So, I really like Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen is 4 picks back on, like, consensus, rankings as far as I'm concerned. So I'm actually okay with it. I really like Keenan Allen. So that's what happens.
Yep. So after Keenan Allen went, you get Damian Williams, T.Y. Hilton, Mark Ingram, George Kittle, which I like that pick a lot. Then A.J. Green, Aaron Jones, which, that's a running back we haven't talked a lot about. Then Shirt comes around and gets his Kerryon Johnson pick. After Kerryon Johnson goes, you see Adam Thielen, Amari Cooper go. Tief then grabs Derrick Henry. So now he's got Alvin Kamara, Derrick Henry, Michael Thomas, and Zach Ertz. So it's pretty solid.
Right.
Then Stephon Diggs goes, and then Brandon Cooks. So the team that was picking second has Ezekiel Elliott, Dalvin Cook, Mike Evans, and Brandon Cooks. That's a nice squad right there. I've got the pick right now. I've got Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb, Juju Smith-Schuster, and then what's on the board for me? You've got Sony Michel,
Some great running
Phillip
backs,
Lindsay.
actually.
You got some great
which
running
isn't
backs.
often the case.
Yeah, Devontae Freeman, Chris Carson, and then after that, Kenny Galladay.
The wide receiver group is a little more suspect, if anything.
Personally, I really like Phillip Lindsay here. I really liked him last year. I think he's a solid flex pick. Devontae Freeman's not a bad
I would
choice
pick
here.
Sony Michel all day myself.
Okay.
I love Kenny G, but he's going to be overdrafted this year.
You know, the more I think about it, like Sony Michel at flex as your running back 3 is not a terrible situation to be in.
No.
And
It's
Saquon
Patriots
Barkley,
guy.
Nick Chubb, and Sony Michel. I just really hate taking Patriots running backs because I just never know what they're going to do.
Well,
But,
you should know that if Sony is healthy, which is never a given,
yeah.
but I mean, he's just a bankable, solid guy. But if you're a believer in Phillip Lindsay, I'd go with him. We don't know what Royce Freeman is yet.
That's true. I had Royce Freeman last year, and I could handcuff probably because I assume he goes much later. But I'm going to go Sony. I'm going to take your advice.
All right.
And then I get another pick here. And that's where it gets interesting. I think I'm going to go. So do I go Julian Edelman?
No.
No? You think you go Galladay?
I mean,
Or do you think you go quarterback?
hmm.
That's the real question now, right?
Chances are, if the question is if you should go quarterback, you shouldn't.
Yeah. But I feel like I have 3 running backs, so I either need to just go solid running back and just dig into it, or I need to grab a wide receiver here. So I would say like Kenny Galladay is probably my pick.
I don't disagree with Kenny Galladay.
Okay.
Definitely over Julian Edelman.
Okay.
He is like going to be a perennially overdrafted player, but it's a 5th round.
Yeah.
So that's not bad.
Cooper Kupp is up there, but he's a little bit further back. But you know, you have Andrew Luck and Aaron Rodgers there, and I really do like both of them as far as like quarterbacks go. But I don't really like to draft quarterback early.
Yep.
So I think for me it's now Cooper or Galladay. Like, do I take that Cooper Kupp risk, or do I want to go just with like the more sure thing? And Cooper didn't really pan out for me last year, so
He's coming off an injury.
I'm going with Galladay.
I think it's a better pick.
So that solidifies my positions, right? You know, I've got my 2 running backs, a flex, and 2 wide receivers. So that's great. Devontae Freeman goes right after that, and then Cooper Kupp skips over Julian Edelman, which is, you know, kind of what we were talking about. Like I was kind of in more of a Cooper or Galladay situation, not really considering Edelman.
Mm-hmm.
So you have Tief here, who has 2 running backs. He has Kamara, Derrick Henry. He has a nice tight end at Zach Ertz, and he has a wide receiver at Michael Thomas. Personally, for him, I think now is a good Edelman time, personally.
He's thinking Luck.
He's thinking Luck, which I don't hate that pick either. I mean, that does, you know, that continues to solidify his lineup in a different way. And Luck really had a nice comeback last year. I do like Luck a lot.
So, I mean, that just has to mean that he's not really excited about the wide receiver 2s. He's eyeing Cohen.
Cohen's
just
a nice one.
No, it's a dumb pick for him. He has
You think
2.
so?
He has 2 running backs and 1 wide receiver, 1 tight end. To
It
pay.
fills his flex.
I mean, yeah, but why would you draft a running back when like? So he likes Julian Edelman as well. I think that might be where he goes. I think that Tief's more of a, like, you know, name. He usually kind of gravitates more towards the name than
I would agree.
the narrative. So I could see him taking Julian Edelman, and there it is.
Took Julian
So
Edelman.
then Carson and then Luck went,
Yeah. And so then it comes to you.
and Phillip Lindsay's still available. So that I know that is my counterpart's obvious pick.
Yeah. For right here, Lindsay is my obvious pick, I think.
Carson went. Where's our boy Mark Ingram?
I think he went.
Oh, he went early. Okay.
Yeah, he went end of the 3rd. Or beginning, end of the 3rd. Because it's snakes. Yeah, he went right after
So
Ty.
I have Hopkins, Allen to recap, and then I have Mixon and Kerryon Johnson. I have a minute and 18 seconds. I will not let the clock expire again.
Yeah.
I also have Aaron Rodgers in my sights.
Which isn't terrible. I mean, Rodgers will always, as long as he stays healthy, get you what you want.
But I am a firm believer. My team is. I always feel better about my team
If you get more running backs.
Yep. It's
Me
just Lindsey's coming off, what is that wrist injury? I just don't feel great about it.
So you thinking Tariq?
No.
No.
He's not a guy I in the first 5 rounds. I mean, yeah, I would take Aaron Rodgers well before Tariq Cohen.
Okay.
But I'm not going to take a wide receiver 3. So it's basically like, do I like a running back better than Philip Lindsay here?
Mm-hmm.
And I do not actually. Based on where the drop off happens, I have to take Philip Lindsay. Though I'm not high on him,
Mm-hmm.
I really like that pick for me right now.
And then Darius Geis goes right after that.
Geis, Cohen, Ridley, Aaron Rodgers, first pick of the 6th round. Then Jarvis Landry and Robert Woods.
That team's actually interesting. David Johnson, James Conner, Mark Ingram, George Kittle, Calvin Ridley, Aaron Rodgers.
As your wide receiver 1.
Yeah, it's not a great wide receiver 1, but certainly not a bad running back core on that
My
team.
general philosophy on these things are to just draft the wide receiver running back position, running backs first, then wide receivers, and then from there figure it out.
Okay.
You know.
So here you've got 2 tight ends high up, Eric Ebron and OJ Howard. You got Baker Mayfield, which I would not recommend. And you got 3 running backs right after. You got Alshon Jeffrey, Tyler Boyd, and Chris Godwin.
Those are wide receivers, friend.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You said running back.
I meant to say wide receiver. I have had beer. So, personally, of those 3, you know what I like.
The God.
I like the God. I think his upside is tremendous. I think he really pans out there.
So let's think about it. So I think my pick is between Alshon Jeffrey and Chris Godwin.
Okay. You've got Joe Mixon, Kerryon Johnson, and Philip Lindsay. You've got Keenan Allen. You've got DeAndre Hopkins. You have like some strong position players. This is a luxury pick. So
A little bit, yeah.
Who's your upside guy? Who's going to fill in that flex and really like get you those big breakout games? That's how I would look at it.
A number 1 wide receiver. You know, like Jeffrey has to contend with Ertz for targets.
You have 15 seconds.
I know I do. And so
I'm a Godwin guy. But Jeffrey's good too. 2, 1. He went Godwin.
I went Godwin.
Gut check said Godwin. Then Tyler Boyd goes.
Said Godwin.
Baker Mayfield goes to a team that has Tyreek Hill, Amari Cooper, Chris Carson, Melvin Gordon, and Travis Kelce. I don't hate that team, but I hate a lot of the people on it. So then Tief's got 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a tight end. I'm wondering what he's going to do. Do you think he goes to Deshaun Watson?
That's a great idea.
I like Watson there. If I were a team,
I do too.
That's what I would do.
But at the same time, let's see. He has 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers.
He could use an extra of one of those. I don't love what's on the board.
Get Jeffrey.
Alshon Jeffrey.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is
definitely
Mahomes,
not a tight end.
You're going to take Watson if he's available, probably.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if you want Watson, get him now.
Yeah.
I feel like people are kind of down on Jeffrey right now.
Yeah.
But
that wouldn't hurt his team. That would certainly be nice. That would be his flex right there. And Alshon Jeffrey is not a bad flex at all. Definitely not a bad wide receiver 3. I'm definitely not touching James White there, personally. I'd rather have, I know this is an unpopular opinion, but I'd much rather have Kenyon Drake there.
Then James White?
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I think Brian Flores is going to get it right in Miami. I think he's
I'd like
the guy.
to see that.
You know? So I think they're going to become more of a defensive team, and they're going to give Kenyon Drake the job finally.
Yeah, or you're going to see, the fish tank.
So this is a live draft, and it's kind of fun because I get to just get up and go get myself a beer.
Go get yourself a beer. I'll tell you what he picks. He went Kenyon Drake there, which I agree with that pick, honestly. That's a nice one. Alshon Jeffrey goes immediately after. James White goes immediately after that.
So he's in his feelings.
Yeah. So he's got Julian Edelman, Michael Thomas, Kenyon Drake, Derrick Henry, and Alvin Kamara and Zach Ertz. I like that a lot.
When you get Ertz and it works out, it's sexy.
Yeah. So
now we're
I've
on
got
to you.
Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb, Sonny Michel, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Kenny Galladay. I think there's tight ends available. There's Eric Ebron and OJ Howard, but I have no interest in either of them personally.
Fair enough.
I just think I'd rather wait on tight end at this point. There's a nice upside quarterback here.
Why is Tevin Coleman sitting there?
This is what I'm thinking personally.
Deshaun is your pick.
Deshaun and then Tevin is what I'm kind of thinking.
You think Tevin is worthy of this draft spot?
I just think.
Where's Jerick McKinnon? Is he? That's assuming he's given the number one job.
That's a good point.
That's a weird pick to me.
Yeah,
that's
you raise a good
weird.
point. I just kind of liked it as like a bench player, but now that you've mentioned Jerick McKinnon, I'll be real with you. I forgot Jerick McKinnon existed. But I'm definitely going to Deshaun Watson. So I'm gonna run out this clock so that we can talk about this. But
I'll tell you what you should pick.
Definitely Deshaun Watson. Now I got 2 more minutes.
I like Mike Williams.
You like Mike Williams?
Yeah, I just drafted Keenan Allen, though I didn't because everyone knows I picked T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah.
And I think Mike Williams is going to steal some touchdowns, double-digit touchdowns this year.
Yeah, and you know what? I could use a third wide receiver. Then I would have 3 wide receivers, 3 running backs.
It's the kind of guy you get excited about.
And I would feel comfortable with those 3 wide receivers and those 3 running backs.
There you go.
So, yeah, I like it. Let's do it. Mike Williams.
There goes Ebron and Howard back to back. I was hoping that Howard would fall to me because I'm a big fan.
Mm-hmm. I'm waiting on tight end. That's
now I'm officially waiting.
Yeah.
Howard is one of my last guys that I'm a big fan of. I think Ebron is a little overvalued this year because I think they're going to spread the ball a lot.
All right, if I'm
Tief
Tief
a
here,
phenomenal year last year. I think it was not repeatable.
I don't think
Draft OJ Howard over Eric Ebron if you know what you're doing.
What are you doing if you're Tief here? I kind of like Drew Brees. He's now got 3 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a tight end. I like Brees.
Yeah, the wide receivers are kind of.
I mean, Will Fuller, like he's coming off that injury. I don't want to touch him.
I think you can get
here.
better players later.
I like Tyler Lockett all right, but I'm not touching him right now.
Brees is a safe pick. Do you want to go safe?
Or do you want to go upside?
Yeah.
Lamar Miller's not a bad upside pick.
He has 3. That'd be his
That's
4th
true.
running back. I think it's either wide receiver or quarterback. So it's like it's DJ Moore, Allen Robinson, Tyler Lockett. I don't consider Will Fuller here. Doug Baldwin's a good pick.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it. I believe Doug Baldwin's a good pick in the 7th round this year. So he goes
went
Brees,
so which is what I kind of would have done.
So then Will Fuller and Tevin Coleman go. So that feels good for me because I don't want either of those guys at that spot. So Hopkins and Allen and Godwin are my wide receivers. Mixon, Carry-On, and Lindsey are my running backs.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about my running back core, to be honest. Like they're all upside guys, but if there was someone, I must say I'm targeting someone like Rashad Penny right now. Maybe Royce Freeman or Carlos Hyde later. But that's not happening right now.
Yeah. T feels that he didn't love the Drew Brees pick, but it was what he had to do.
Yeah. So at this point in the draft, you should be looking at other people and what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So like on the back end of who I'm drafting, there are 2 people that haven't drafted tight ends. So Evan Ingram is going to go. So if I want Evan Ingram, I have to draft him right now.
Yeah.
And I kind of want Evan Ingram. It's just a matter of, is there a quarterback? Russell Wilson. I don't think he's worth the value right now, or like DJ Moore, Doug Baldwin. So now I'm just going to consider like DJ Moore, Doug Baldwin versus my friend Evan Ingram. I think DJ Moore is kind of worth it. He would be my wide receiver 4. You can always get wide receivers later, but goodness me, DJ Moore is good. That's interesting. I also like Corey Davis, always have.
Mm-hmm.
He's not far off.
We got 8 seconds.
You went DJ Moore.
I went DJ Moore at the last second.
I mean, you got a nice, strong wide receiver core. You can feel
So
good about that.
my last consideration was to draft Evan Ingram and let Corey Davis fall to me, which he would have, and that would have been interesting. Evan Ingram went right after DJ Moore,
Mhm.
and then
Lamar
Lamar
Miller.
Miller, Tyler Lockett, Howard, and
Then Hunter Henry and quarterback with Russell Wilson, who just re-signed with the Seattle Seahawks.
so this is a great example of a draft where you really need to make your own rankings.
Mm.
Because like with me just trying to pick off of what I'm thinking at the time just like makes it very difficult to sort things out the last second.
Mhm.
And like if you have your own rankings to go off of, it makes the whole process simpler. So for me now, I don't have a quarterback, I don't have a tight end,
Mhm.
I have 3 running backs, so the considerations
And
are
4 wide
running
receivers.
back. Exactly. So I'm not drafting a quarterback. There's LaShawn McCoy, Kareem Hunt, Rashad Penny, McKinnon. I think McKinnon's super underrated right now, but we'll see what happens there. Burton's on the back end, and we got Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, Jared Goff. I'm going to continue to wait a quarterback. Sort of like David Njoku at value right here because he's in a great offense and he's like literally right at value. So that's what I'm going to pick.
Okay. You filled your tight end slot.
Yep.
Then Allen Robinson goes right after, and so does LaShawn McCoy. And that brings Tief up. So Tief's got, Alvin Kamara, as we've discussed, Derrick Henry, and Kenyon Drake. He has 2 wide receivers at Julian Edelman and Michael Thomas. He has a tight end at Zach Ertz and Drew Brees.
So who's he going to take?
I think he's gotta go wide
Doug
receiver.
Baldwin.
I think it's Doug Baldwin.
I mean, or Corey Davis.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably take Corey Davis. I like Corey Davis more than most.
Definitely skipping Emmanuel Sanders personally. Definitely
Yep.
skipping Sammy Watkins personally.
Yeah, probably. We don't know where the off-field situation is going to end up.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
Tyreek Hill. That's going to completely
Now if Tyreek
command.
Hill gets suspended, I like Sammy Watkins
Exactly.
a little bit more.
Exactly. That's going to completely command Sammy Watkins' value.
Mhm.
So
But it's
I
a
would
nice
I
risk
would
pick
go
for
off
him.
I would go off the cuff here and I would take Corey Davis because I am still a believer in him. He's really, really good. Marcus Mariota is probably better than he's been for 3 years now.
Mm-hmm.
But
Really hard to say.
wasn't he drafted right after Andrew Luck? In
Was
that
it Andrew
draft?
Luck?
Out of
Or was-
Oregon.
Um,
He was 2 overall, I think, right after Andrew.
let's
Because
see here.
there was a draft where, or is that
was
what's his
Jameis
name?
Winston, I
RG3. Is it RG3? No, Jameis went 1 overall, and
Yeah.
then maybe it was Mariota.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah, it's NFL Draft 2015. Let's see here. First pick, Jameis Winston. Second pick, Marcus Mariota. That's what it was. Looked it up.
Okay, so it was the Winston draft.
All right, so Tief went Watkins, which makes total sense.
Because
to
I
me.
said he asked Watkins or Penny, and I said you should draft a wide receiver, so he went with Watkins.
Which I think, considering what I think is going to happen to Tyreek Hill, I think it makes sense.
Here's another reason why Sleeper is great. The Bears just went the
Mhm.
defense in the 8th round.
Yeah.
People are going to draft that. Just don't do that, people. Like, you need to stop. Just stop drafting defenses in the 8th round. You're
Yeah.
missing on quality players that are going to help you win championships.
Yeah, 3 wide receivers on that team, 2 running backs only. That's a team that has McCaffrey and Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette, a big question mark. Instead of going with another running back, they went the Bears, which I just don't agree with.
They draft for ADP. They don't really draft for stupid, but
Yeah, no, I
there are
agree.
always stupid owners in your league. So,
Oh, for sure, and you have to simulate that.
so and then everyone's beloved Matt Ryan is now gone.
Yeah.
So
So that leaves it to me. I've got 3 wide receivers. I have 3
I'm sure
running
you're not
backs.
sad about those picks.
Yeah.
You're pretty excited, I'm sure.
I've got 3 wide receivers, 3 running backs. I think my wide receiver is a little bit more questionable, and I have a quarterback. I could go tight end and grab Vance McDonald right now. I'm not going to, but I could. I could grab another running back, but I really don't need one. I feel like Doug Baldwin's my pick here, just to round out my wide receiver core. just to like kind of just feel settled in that, feel strong with that. That's how I feel. What do you
Yeah,
think
you
about
have nothing but upside at wide receiver, so you might as well take a guy where injury, with holding like that, it's an amazing pick.
that? Yeah, I think so. And then it comes back to me.
I would take a running back.
Yeah, fill out my running back core.
And
at
I
this
would
point.
take Jerick McKinnon because I believe he will be given the first opportunity. I don't know what these rankings on Sleeper are. I gotta take a look at other rankings. I'm gonna take a look at some San Francisco running back rankings. We got on the consensus experts, we got McKinnon at 80 overall, running back 32, and then Tevin Coleman is higher than him, running back 27. I don't know if I agree with that.
I don't agree with that.
We'll see, but I would just if it just comes push comes to shove, I will just take the guy at value, and McKinnon's going 2 rounds later, so just take McKinnon.
Based on how much
If you ask me.
Shanahan gushed about McKinnon on the signing, I think he's going to get every opportunity to do
Right.
what Shanahan believes.
And then the other guys are available are like Royce Freeman, Carlos Hyde, Rashad Penny, and Kareem Hunt. I think Rashad Penny and Kareem Hunt seem to be very much overdrafted right now, especially Kareem Hunt. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Chris Carson has the job currently. Penny will work in, but I would say McKinnon's easily the best value right there.
I would tend to agree. I'm definitely not going to go down to Royce Freeman. I
Your team's
drafted
sexy.
him early last year.
You just need a tight end.
Yeah. So there we go. So now I've got 4 running backs. I've got Saquon, Nick Chubb, Sonny Michel, and Jerick McKinnon. I feel good about that. I've got 4 wide receivers, Juju Smith-Schuster. I've got Kenny Golladay, Mike Williams, and Doug Baldwin. And I have Deshaun Watson. Right after me goes the 2 running backs we felt were super overvalued at Kareem Hunt and Rashad Penny. So that just clears them off the board. Tief's up to pick now. Let's see here. He has 3 wide receivers and 3 running backs. He has a tight end. He has a quarterback. So I feel like he can kind of just pick what he thinks is the best player available, right? Probably not a tight end. So what, Corey Davis?
I think so. He can also draft a running back. He has 3 wide receivers. He just 1 wide receiver, so that's good. So he's 3 wide receivers, 3 running backs, and a tight end and a quarterback.
So what are you doing, Hyde here?
Usually you go running back. I mean, for me,
or Latavius.
Sexiest player is Royce Freeman. But I'm eyeing Royce Freeman personally because I drafted Philip Lindsay, so I might pair them together. So
that'd be the way. That's what I did last year. It did not work, but it's what I did.
I mean, no one saw Philip Lindsay coming, so
no.
He went Royce Freeman, exactly what I thought.
Corey Davis goes right after that.
Corey Davis in the 9th round is kind of gross, if you ask me.
Emmanuel Sanders goes right after that.
So Latavius Murray is still available. It's a very solid pick. We have a team with only 2 running backs on the back end.
You could Carson Wentz it if you want to risk it, but I don't know if that's the way to go.
I'm not a big Carson Wentz guy. I'm really
not. You could Goff it if you want to Goff it.
I think I'm going to wait for Jameis because that's my guy.
Okay.
As far as a late pick.
So are you going – you have 4 wide receivers, so are you thinking running back here?
I'm thinking Latavius, honestly. Okay. I think he is the best pick available.
He's not a terrible running back 4.
No, he's my guy.
Okay.
That's what I'm taking.
All right. There goes Dante Pettis, then Jared Goff.
Carlos Hyde,
Robbie Anderson, Marvin Jones, Christian
Kirk. Very early for him.
Very early for him. And that brings it back to you. You've got a tight end. You've got 4 running backs. You've got 4 wide receivers. There's 3 quarterbacks high up on the board right now.
And everyone has a quarterback after me.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
you can kind of wait on that.
In these situations, I just wait. I have 4 running backs, 4 wide receivers, so I can kind of just do whatever I want. It's kind of nice.
Got Cortland Sutton there. You got Golden Tate. Got Austin Eckler, which I don't know. He's a decent handcuff.
Running back value just went down, but I just drafted one, so that's nice. So who am I looking at? Wide receiver. Sutton's a good guy.
Jameis is definitely there for you if you wait. Could go early on grabbing a Rams defense.
Who do you have higher, Sterling Shepard or Golden Tate?
Honestly, I think Golden Tate. I think I've seen Sterling Shepard be like the only wide receiver on that team a few times, and I've seen what he can do, and I've never been impressed personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's always been a disappointment to me.
It's pretty good though overall.
I just don't think
we do have rookies because I see Adrian Brown, Andy Isabella. They're here. So there are some rookies. Josh Jacobs. They're just sitting here.
With like no team.
With no team. So I don't feel that great about Cortland Sutton. I think I'm just going to take Golden Tate.
That's what I would do.
There it is.
There goes Vance McDonald, which I waited on. And
I just don't know how well
there goes
Joe
Austin
Flacco, and Cortland Sutton are going to work together.
All right, so Tief has 4 running backs, 3 wide receivers. I guess if I'm him here, I'm going wide receiver.
He goes Dante Foreman, excuse me.
Well,
I had to ask him about that one.
That's an interesting one. There goes Sterling Shepard, then Cortland Sutton, and it comes to me.
Sutton would have been nice that late.
So I've got 4 running backs. I've got 4 receivers. And I've got a quarterback. I don't know what I want here because I don't want another quarterback really this early.
Does everybody have a tight end?
I'm the only one that doesn't.
Nice.
So,
Ooh.
So I'm not.
Trey Boo Boo is still available though.
Yeah, and I'm kind of looking at him like a little bit later. You know, honestly, here, because of what I think is going to happen in the draft, I'm not touching Barber. You know, this is very uncharacteristic of me. But I think I'm going to do a little reach here. I'm going to go grab Devin Funchess.
Nice.
Just because, like, my wide receiver core I felt like was weaker than my running back core. Grab someone with some upside that I like.
I like it. I mean, it's crapshoot after this, so.
Yeah. And then I think, I'm just going to...
No, that's a perfect spot for him. Well done.
Yeah, and I think I'm just going to grab my tight end right now. Just going to grab Trey Burton.
Good. I like it. So then Cam and Carson go back-to-back as backup quarterbacks. So dodging bullets here as I hope that Jameis falls to me.
Yeah, I think you got a chance here.
But it doesn't really matter. If I get Jameis and Jimmy G, I am freaking loving it. So
yeah.
Or even Kirk Cousins sitting there. So
that's a nice one.
I mean,
Tom Brady's still there. I'm not saying that like Tom Brady's like a good pick, but he's
Lamar
not
Jackson, like just solid top 10 quarterback last year because it was rushing. Like,
and then there's some nice picks here. Tief's on the board. He just took Dante Foreman.
Yeah, I chatted with him a little bit. He doesn't know much about him, but he was just like hoping he could be the guy at Houston. So I think he needs to go wide receiver for sure. Yeah, his wide receivers are weak. So many people are high on Deshaun. I would say it's probably the best pick based on value.
Yeah, because that would give him Kamara,
wide receivers
Thomas,
officially
Ertz, Henry, Edelman.
It's officially just dart throws now.
Yeah. I mean, you throw Deshaun Watson. You have Watkins as your wide receiver 3. If, Tyreek Hill's out for a while, that's nice.
You know who I'd take? Larry Fitzgerald. Give me Kyler Murray to Larry. I can't believe Christian Kirk would be going above Larry Fitzgerald. What the fuck is that?
That is weird. Or, grab one of those rookies. Just get weird.
I'm telling him to draft Larry Fitzgerald. 7 seconds.
I told him to draft Deshaun. I just like that as like a big play.
Tom Brady
is a backup.
Oh,
there goes
quarterback
Jameis and
run.
Phillip. Oh no.
Oh my goodness. I still don't care. I still really don't care.
Whoa, that's 5 quarterbacks in a row. Carson, Wentz, Cam Newton, Tom Brady,
insane.
Jameis Winston, and Phillip Rivers all going to run.
What are people doing?
All of them as backups too. Before you even get your first one.
Okay, you know what I'd be doing? Because we're just doing a mock and it would be what we're actually doing. I would take Josh Jacobs. So that's what I'm going to do. because like wherever he goes, chances are it'd be to a ridiculously good team, and or as far as a really solid fantasy situation. So I'm just gonna say wherever Josh Jacobs goes in the 11th round,
Mm-hmm.
that's who I'd be taking the number one running back.
That's a good point. I mean, that's a nice pick.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing.
Then Peyton Barber goes. Then a defense goes off the board. The Rams go. Larry finally goes. Then James Washington goes. Matt
I mean,
Breida.
granted, my team is weird.
Deshaun Jackson goes. Your team is weird, but your team has like a lot of good upside. You're definitely done with running backs at this point. I'm pretty good on your wide receivers. You got a tight end. You could grab a D here just to get it done. Could grab a quarterback here. You could back up your tight end, which some people do, some people don't.
It's time to bite the bullet, the quarterback bullet. So we got to go, let's see.
Kirk's still there. Ben's still there. Jimmy's still there. Josh Allen, which I don't love. Lamar Jackson I like more than Josh Allen, personally.
I know, right? It's kind of all good.
Mm-hmm.
Taking Lamar Jackson.
Ooh.
Let's get after
bold
it.
pick.
Andy Isabella,
Goes,
our cohort, we were just texting with Tief. He was wondering about Andy Isabella, and he goes right after Lamar Jackson to who knows, and then A.J. Brown to who knows.
Mm-hmm.
But just good players. So depending on situation, I mean, like that's the thing. Like,
you can get those guys late. That's not terrible.
Wide receivers, N'Keal Harry is still available. I'm pretty sure Marquise Brown is still available. Like Hakeem Butler is still available. Wherever these guys go, that's what's going to really matter. So we just got to like project upside based on situation, like who is in front of them on depth charts and things like that. So
yeah,
I think at this point, like with Tief, like maybe he just drafts a defense.
Mm-hmm.
He has 3 wide receivers. Never mind. He needs a freaking wide receiver.
Yeah.
He needs to draft. I would say Geronimo Allison all day. I mean, Geronimo was on a really, really nice pace last season before he got hurt. And he's got Aaron Rodgers. They have a couple wide receivers that just kind of haven't done much. Randall Cobb is gone. Mm-hmm. Geronimo is absolutely the pick that he should take right here.
Yeah, that's a nice upside pick. What's he going to do? He's typing. He's looking at the 4 running backs between 124 and 128. Ito Smith, Jalen Samuels.
I kind of like Samuels.
He says, I'm just going to close my eyes and pick one.
That's dumb.
He went Nyheim Hines.
Ew.
Geronimo Allison goes
right after him. That is bad news,
and
people.
Then the Baltimore,
this is why Tief never wins our freaking league.
Yeah, and then the Baltimore Ravens defense goes, I'm going to just, do a little something here. I'm going to draft my upside quarterback, Jimmy G, as my backup here.
Fair enough.
I like it.
Dick.
I like it. That's what I'm going to do.
You fucking dick.
I'm already set pretty much on everything except I could get another running back, but I'm not really that interested.
So here's an interesting note as we close out these rounds. In a 10-team league, it's becoming apparent to everyone that you might as well, especially early on, just draft another position unless your league requires you to draft a kicker.
Yeah.
You don't need Justin Tucker to win your fantasy league. You know who you need? You need John Brown, who was a last round pick and was a top 20 wide receiver for the first half of last year. So like it's always better to draft a player as opposed to a kicker in the late rounds and then pick up a kicker later. But a lot of people don't really think of that because it doesn't really make a lot of sense. You fill out your roster.
I feel like I got to go defense. I feel like it's time.
Who you like?
I don't know who I like. That's the problem. I'm not thrilled. But, I guess I kind of like the Texans, but I kind of like the Vikings, The Jags, I'm unconvinced of. What do you think? I always get stuck with the Texans. That's the problem for me. I don't want
I
them.
prefer the Vikings over the Texans.
Me too.
I like the Chargers most of all, maybe.
That's true. Vikings. I'm just sick of taking the Texans. I'm just sick of it.
I like it.
Oh, there goes some kickers. Zerline and Sebastian Janikowski.
Don't take kickers, guys.
That's gross. I mean,
if you do,
you have to take
in
one
your
at the
last
end,
round,
but it's my last round thing.
right? But if you are not required to, do not take a kicker because it's kind of a crapshoot. There's no point.
Which I guess leaves me to kicker because I think I'm required to.
Was it like blocking out your other positions?
No, maybe I'm not required
I
to.
don't think you're required to.
Well, then I'm not gonna. I'll just drop someone at some point.
If Delaney Walker falls, I might just take a second.
And then Tief
tight
takes
end.
the Houston Texans defense. I don't hate his team. I don't love his last 2 running back picks, but otherwise, he's got really solid first few rounds. We'll go through the teams one by one really fast, and then we'll wrap this up. But comes to Shirty, Zero Dark Shirty. Could probably use a backup QB.
Yep.
Kirk Cousins is not a bad backup
It's
QB.
between Cousins and Allen. I think since I have the volatility of Jackson, I should go with the safety of Cousins. So that's what I'm gonna do.
There goes the Dallas Cowboys defense, Justin Tucker, Devin Broncos defense, Harrison Butker, who has a funny name, Big
kicker.
Ben Roethlisberger, Will Lutz, and then it comes to you.
So in this position,
You don't have a
with-
defense, do you?
I don't really care.
You don't have a defense or a kicker.
I
Someone's
guess I
getting
take
dropped.
a defense. I guess I get a defense. I don't believe in the Browns at that spot. Saints. I don't know. I really like the Eagles. They have the Browns at really high ADP. Wonder why that is. I guess they're going to be winning games.
Yeah.
And Denzel Ward is pretty good.
Oh, have the mighty have fallen. Look how low the Seahawks are.
The Browns, huh? What do you think about that? Browns or Eagles? Do you think the Browns
Eagles.
are that good?
No,
Right?
I don't. And you know what? I think the Eagles are only a couple years
They're
removed from
good,
being
but the
really
Eagles have the
good.
best pass rush in the league. I mean, their secondary is questionable, but I think they're upgrading it. They re-signed Darby. I'm going to go with the Eagles.
I'm going to weird you out with my last pick, man. There goes Robbie Gould. There goes
Yeah.
Jake Elliott. Oh, and then
Jalen
Samuels.
Samuels. I like it.
I like it. There goes Delaney Walker, Deion Lewis. Comes to me. And now I'm going to get a little weird. I'm not going to take a kicker. I'm going to take DK Metcalf.
Nice. You love to say Metcalf.
Metcalf. But, I mean, I think I've got a really solid team. Let's go over the teams really fast, super quick. I'm going to skip the computer teams because I just don't really.
Right.
But let's just go over who we got. I have Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb, Juju Smith-Schuster, Sony Michel, Kenny Galladay, Deshaun Watson, Mike Williams, Doug Baldwin, Jerick McKinnon, Devin Funchess, then Trey Burton, Jimmy Garoppolo is my backup quarterback. You got the Minnesota Vikings defense, and then DK Metcalf.
It's a pretty good team. I mean, the strength, I think, is the running backs for sure.
For sure.
Which
I've got
is
a
the best
ton
place
of
to have
upside at wide
strength.
receiver.
Yeah.
Who
you don't
knows?
have your bar none wide receiver 1 or 2, but you have guys that are ready to enter those conversations, and Juju, Galladay, and Mike Williams. So I like the backup with Baldwin. I like the McKinnon and the Funchess pick, and then nice little value with Burton. I mean, you might be playing tight end roulette all year because I did that with Burton last year.
I've definitely done that.
But overall, this team is really, really good.
Yeah, that could win a league. Now let's go to Tief's team, which we kind of discussed a little bit. It's a weird team.
Kamara and Thomas, same team.
Yeah.
Running back, wide receiver. So he's a Saints fan.
Yeah. You got
So
nice
he
tight
lives and
end.
dies a little bit by their matchups,
Yeah.
tiny bit.
A nice tight end at
Zach Ertz in the third round is great. And then Derrick Henry, if we think he's going to continue to be the man that pounds a rock, which I think is possible, I like it. I did not like Edelman and Drake after that.
Tief asked if you didn't like his Himes pick, and I said you vomited all over the desk. And he
Basically.
asked, "Did you really?" So
Yeah, I basically did.
Tief believed me for a second.
Yeah.
I like some
His
of
first
his
three
picks.
picks were great.
His first 3 picks are great, and then clearly
Henry was fine.
it just shows that he hasn't studied that much yet. But obviously, this is a way too early mock, so no one's judging him for that.
I mean, so let's see. What could we have done better? So, like, I like Derrick Henry fine at 4.7, so let's just stick with that. But then the problem is the wide receivers on the comeback were, like, I think you should have taken Alshon Jeffrey instead of Julian Edelman.
I agree.
But, you know.
And almost could have gotten him the next round.
No, he could have. So he could have taken
yeah.
Jeffrey on the back, but then he took Kenyon Drake, which is
I like Kenyon Drake, but yeah.
I don't know how I feel about Kenyon Drake.
Yeah.
No one does. He's
good
going to
point.
be one of the most volatile players. And
For sure.
so then he takes Breeze as like kind of a safety net, and then Watkins when I was saying Corey Davis. I just would have liked different players at that stretch. Like I loved the Royce Freeman pick. That's who I wanted a few picks later. And then Dante Foreman, I don't think you needed to take
No.
at 10-7. So it was like
he could have gotten Sterling Shepard or Cortland Sutton.
He
or
was
Devin
like a
Funchess there.
He was like a stock portfolio that's like all stocks, no bonds. It was just like jumping all over the place.
Although Tief did have some things to say about your team, which I enjoyed. He just said, "Nice Keenan Allen pick. There's a 13% chance he will play more than 2 games this year. #glass." So
nice.
I don't know if you know this. Tief has drafted Keenan Allen a few times, so clearly
he knows.
he's a little bit bitter.
So I'm gonna make a little asterisk on my team.
Tief's a big fan of my draft, apparently. He says.
Yeah, your team's solid. Your team's really, really good. I mean, that's what happens when you get Saquon freaking Barkley.
Yeah.
So my pick, I drafted at 7. I had the last pick of all of us, so I had to take the first wide receiver, DeAndre Hopkins, to just get value. And then Joe Mixon was a nice follow-up. I'm really happy with that. I would have him over Cook and Chubb and Connor even probably, so I was really excited about that. And then we're just going to asterisk T.Y. Hilton because that's what I wanted to take, and I took Keenan Allen. And then I was hoping to get Kerryon Johnson on the way back. So basically – in both situations, I wanted a running back. Where am I going to get a running back? I'm going to take the wide receiver value. I did that, and then I got the running back I wanted. It remains to be seen if Kerryon is worth a 4th-round pick because it's basically based a lot on speculation, but he was really looking good at the parts when he had the opportunity last year, and the team wasn't quite ready to give him the job. But he is running well, and I think that he is like ready for the breakout. You know, like if Aaron Jones is getting drafted right next to him, I'm ready for Kerryon Johnson to be drafted there. So I really liked my first 4 picks, and then
too.
I'm not crazy about Philip Lindsay, but at that spot,
in the 5th round, he's a worthy pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was hoping for
I like Chris Godwin. I
Yeah.
like the God.
Right. That was a last-second pick between him and Alshon. I think I'm happy
I like
with
your
my decision.
value quarterbacks in the end. Like I like Jackson and Cousins.
The end result is
We didn't have bench slots to play with really, so that's part of it.
Yeah. 9th Latavius, 10th Golden Tate, 11th Josh Jacobs. I mean, those are the kind of picks that might win you a league.
That's true too.
You know, because those are the times where you're like, okay, my starters aren't amazing, but I'm going to have fill-ins, and, like, I am drafting quarterbacks at the back end, no question. But, like, those guys that might pop, you know, because they have either talent or opportunity, those are the kind of picks that you need to make. But overall, like, if I could just trade my team for your team, I'd probably trade my team for your team because my team's, like, weird. and your
Yeah.
team's not weird.
Yeah.
It's like pretty straightforward. Just
Yeah.
like
Need a
upside at wide
kicker.
receiver, solid running backs,
Mhm.
quarterback, maybe a tight end question. But if you have a question at tight end, you're like, fuck it. I have a question at tight
If
end. I don't give
if
a
there's
shit.
a position player place to have a question, it's tight end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, overall,
It's either draft early or draft late on that.
yeah, I think for me it was based on draft spot, and then I bet on upside, and I think this team has enough to win. You just need to make some moves.
I texted a picture of our statue guy to Tief, and I said, "You're here in spirit." He said, "Hell yeah." And also our final grades from Colorado, our guy who has not studied at all, are good draft Mike, bad draft Tim, happy birthday Mike. So that's our final grades from
Fair enough.
Tief. Although I think we would agree that I would rather have your team over Tief's team personally.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean his middle rounds, his top
I think
rounds
his top
were better.
rounds were really good, but
and
his middle rounds
were
he
worse.
just didn't do he hasn't done the homework.
Right.
But it's April and no one has expected him to do the homework yet. So he didn't know he was going to be on this tonight. Like we told him like 10 minutes beforehand, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, how would he know?
Right. So I would say as a takeaway, most people will be really uncomfortable with like waiting a long time on tight end and quarterback,
Mhm.
but I strongly advocate that stance
I would
because
too.
it's really going to make your team better in the long run because like it's kind of a crapshoot from 4 to 20
Yeah.
at each position. I mean, to a certain extent. It
Yeah.
really is. I mean, it's a difference between hitting a home run or striking out, and you're just trying at that point. So it's like build up at quarterback, running back and wide receiver, and then see what happens after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's 2 episodes in one night.
Yep.
It's pretty impressive work.
Good stuff.
Have a good night,
Fun
fuckers.
times.